Well, for the first time in NBC polling history, Donald Trump is now beating Joe Biden in a general election matchup. And it's not the only poll spelling bad news for the current president. A majority of independents disapprove of Joe Biden's handling of the Israeli-Hamas war. So let's bring in our panel. We've got all sorts of folks here. Up in the upper left-hand corner, we got Republican voter Brian Benstock. Democrat voters switching to the Republican Party, Stephanie Rapp right there. She's waving. Independent voter Meyer Fertig. Good morning, Meyer. We got on the far right end, we got Republican voter Sergio Rodriguez. Then down front, independent voter and pro-Israel activist Lizzie Savetsky. Right there, we've got independent voter Eliza Licht. And screen right on the bottom row, Republican congressional candidate Madeleine Bram. We thank you all for joining us. All right, so can I see... Since yesterday was his birthday, and he celebrated with that bonfire cake yesterday in the White House, can I see the hands? Who thinks Joe Biden's too old? Okay, it's unanimous. Let me ask you this, Brian. Why is he too old?
Well, to me, it's not a question of his age, it's his competence. He's incompetent, and he's been incompetent for decades. So the fact that his chronological number is 81 doesn't disqualify him for the job. It's his coherency. He can't complete a sentence.
Well, but if you say he's been incoherent for decades, you probably just don't like his policies. But what seems like right now, Stephanie, is he just seems frail. And it's kind of like, why are they putting him out there? He should be out fishing or playing with the dog or something.
I agree. If nothing else, he's a symbol of our country and our country's strength. And if you look weak when you're speaking or half asleep or you can't keep your eyes open, it represents our strength as a nation. And I think it's making us look weak as a nation right now.
Meyer, you're an independent, small businessman. One of the big things that the White House is so excited about is Bidenomics. Bidenomics is working. You know, people don't feel it, but the numbers look better. You're actually on the front lines of small business. Is it working for you?
I don't think that it is, and you're right, people don't feel it. I'm an HVAC contractor. I work in some of the wealthiest counties and zip codes in the country, and despite that, I could tell you that our customers are, some of them are sweating their bills, and the heat's not a luxury. If the heat goes off, it's got to go back on. But even so, people are not feeling flush.
Sure. Sergio, you are a Republican. You also have a podcast, so you talk about this stuff all the time. So many people I know, and probably you know as well, are living paycheck to paycheck because even though the numbers are looking better than they were last year, it still doesn't feel good.
Yeah, the economy has been an issue for a while, and I've been saying this now for about the better part of a year. The biggest reason why President Trump is going to win this election again is going to be the economy and how strong or much stronger it was when he was in power than it is now.
Madeleine, we have talked about your children. You had one son in the Army right now and another son who was stabbed, murdered. It's a terrible story. I know your son in the Army, you're worried right now that there could be a war that Joe Biden gets us into. And next thing you know, he's out there fighting for somebody.
Absolutely. My son, a private Ayumi Brahim, is 82nd Airborne. He's a paratrooper stationed in Fort Bragg, or now currently Fort Liberty. And hopefully he'll be home on leave for Thanksgiving. All right. But I don't know what's going to happen after that. So I'm very concerned about my son being deployed over to the Middle East to fight in a war that, number one, is not ours, okay? And number two, that these colors don't run. America should not surrender. Israel should not surrender, right? And I know that if my son goes, he will fight valiantly.
Right. Eliza, one of the things for Joe Biden right now is he's actually, a lot of young Democrat voters, I know you're an independent, but a lot of young Democrat voters don't like the fact that Joe Biden is 100%, he says, behind Israel. they are more pro-Palestine, some of them, and that's causing a problem for his poll numbers.
Well, we can blame social media for that. There is so much false information on social media. They all need to be watching you. But it's true because there's no fact-checking. It's a trend. It is trendy to be anti-Israel right now, and I think that's a huge mistake because democracy is at stake.
Lizzie, I think you were in Israel on October 7th. You know what it feels like to have been there, and I'm sure it breaks your heart to see what is going on back there. But at the same time, in this country there is this division. The administration says, Israel, we've got your back, but then there's this other noise. There's so much anti-Semitism going on. It's a crazy time.
It's a crazy time, and I haven't really slept a good night since October 7th, since being in the bomb shelter with my children. I think every Jewish person right now in America has become a single issue voter, and we are looking for an administration and a leader who is going to align with Israel and not just talk the talk but walk the walk.
Yep.
And we need that as Jewish people for our security in the world.
Okay, let me see your hands. Who thinks it's going to be Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, a rematch of last time? Who thinks? All right, Meyer, you don't. Why?
Don't, because I still can't help but suspect that the Democrats are going to come up with Plan B. I don't know who that is,
right?
But that's my feeling.
Well, who could? Michelle Obama, Ted Cruz said the same thing. That's right. She could win.
She said she wouldn't do it, though.
Well, that's what she says now. But then again, they also say they don't have a Plan B.
Yeah, but she's a politician. If she said it, I'm sure she means it.
So let me So the Democrats say they don't have a Plan B. And you look at the polls, and Donald Trump right now is beating Joe Biden. Everybody okay with Joe Biden everybody okay with Donald Trump getting the nod? Would somebody like to see somebody else on the Republican side?
I would love to see Nikki Haley.
Okay, one at a time. Mario, you first.
I would prefer DeSantis. I like Haley. I don't like some of the things that she said recently. I do respect her, but I think if I had to choose, I would go with DeSantis.
Okay, Stephanie?
I'm a big Nikki Haley fan. We agree on all of the issues that I find most pressing, and the policies and beliefs that we disagree on, I think, can wait 4 years if we're all still alive and if we still have a democracy in place.
Oh, that's cheery, if we're all still alive. Brian?
I think Nikki Haley is a neocon. I mean, and we've seen too much of this warmongering going on both sides. This is not just the Democrats.
Do you have a different candidate than Trump?
I like Trump, Vikaswamy.
We were looking
as a team.
But your guy is Trump. All right.
Absolutely.
I was just looking for other voices. And Lizzie?
I absolutely support Nikki Haley. I was privileged to meet her on this show, actually. And I love that she recently said that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. We have not heard the current White House say that. And I would like a leader who acknowledges that anti-Israel ideologies lead to Jew hatred in America.
Well, great analysis from all of you. They are going to stick around and continue the conversation throughout the morning. We thank you very much for joining us. I've got some of my wife's cookies upstairs. I'll bring them down. They're delicious. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.